should you be afraid of AI? When people think of AI, they think of some dystopian kind of like movie narrative. And obviously, because there's been so much of that content put forward to the masses, where now you think that AI will take over, and then you hear Elon say he wants to put basically a robot in every house, which will happen, but it won't happen just yet. The logistics, and specifically like manufacturing logistics, their narrative of energy, like all these things have to change before we truly get to some dystopian future. If you look at it from, like the US, so what Trump, to my understanding, what Trump's trying to do is obviously bring manufacturing back to the United States. And so what Elon's trying to do is he's trying to obviously produce these robots. He's done it with the manufacturer in Texas for the cars, right? I think it's the biggest factory in the world. It spans super long. But what is happening, or what we're seeing or will see, is that US just doesn't have the infrastructure for the mass production of robots. Again, to my understanding, because we've outsourced a lot of it. And so we're going to have to improve manufacturing logistics, all types of logistics, and then energy, because that obviously is a bit of an issue. We're going to need more of it, especially with all the infrastructure we are trying to build, or the US is trying to build, and all these companies, OpenAI, Microsoft, all these data centers being built. Kind of the main thing is the lack of energy, because it just takes so much to power these massive data centers, right? And you have to cool them, and it creates a bit of a issue currently when you're trying to bring things back home, in the US. So don't think of it as robots are going to take over, some iRobot with Will Smith type narrative. That's not going to happen just yet, and that's not going to happen for the near future. Like, you're still very, 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 very far away from that taking place. Now, what you will have, yes, is in the next few years, robots building other robots, which will obviously help the scale of production of the robots. There's a bunch of obviously complications of having robots, right? We're seeing currently with the Waymo. I believe Waymo now is expanding to other cities. So you're going to kind of have the hub, which could be Texas. We'll see. Or it's just, Silicon Valley. But you're going to have a hub where robots are basically distributed, and they're going to collect all this data just like they did with Waymo. Waymo essentially did that. I believe it was basically only in a few states, and then eventually, once it started actually grabbing data, improving and refining, they started allowing other states access to this technology. So we are far away from the iRobot narrative. However, it will eventually take place. Like, when there's humans versus robots, sure, obviously the robots are going to win. It's going to be very tough for us. But before that takes place, you are going to have a complete recall of the economy, of scaling laws, right? Moore's law is kind of out the window now because we completely just busted through that. So there's all these things that first need to take place before anything of that magnitude happens. Now, on the flip side, you should be very bullish on AI, because AI is going to give your time back, make you more efficient, potentially make you more money if you are positioned correctly into the marketplace. But you should not be worried just yet. It actually does not serve you to be worried about AI, right? Rather, just be bullish and start using the tools today so that you can take advantage of it for tomorrow. And by that alone, you'll actually position yourself better than 99% of people. Because if you look around at others, they don't have a clue of what is going on. Okay, specifically when it comes to AI. Right? Sure, you hear the buzzwords on TV in all this other interesting stuff, but they have yet to do their own research. A lot of individuals, right? And yes, they may use the LLMs, the common tools, but we're still so very far away from AGI. But right now, in today's world, 2025, use the LLMs, get familiar with this new kind of era of AI. It is going to take over. All right, it is the future. Like, there's no better time to get into something right now than AI. And everyone will have to eventually get into AI. Yeah, you're going to have kind of like two camps. And this is, again, far into the future. But you're going to have two camps. You're going to have basically the people who use AI and the people who are against AI, and they're going to have mass rioting, X, Y, and Z. Similar to the movies, but just not yet. But eventually, you're going to have to adopt AI because it's just going to be so prominent. It's like basically having a car. It's like you're going to want to have a car because if you're walking or biking, it's going to be so slow. And if there is any monetary value or whatever at the time we are using for currency, you're just not going to have much of it because you're going at such a snail's pace if you don't have the adoption of AI, if you're not using AI tools, right? So for instance, I mean, the first thing that really is the closest thing to I have seen to agentic AI has to be, the combination of anti-gravity from Google that they just released with Gemini 3 and Sonnet 4.5, Claude Code, essentially. That is the closest thing that we have come to AI actually doing work. I'm not talking about workflows. I'm not talking about N8N, Make.com, no-code solutions. I'm talking about you saying something, and what you're going to see very shortly here, and you can already kind of see it, is that when you prompt an LLM, you have your kind of your fast mode and your thinking mode. The thinking mode takes some time. What you're starting to kind of see with, again, Claude Code and all these things, is where you can prompt it, and it's going to take longer now because it's actually building you out real use cases that you can then use. So before, it wouldn't really do anything, then it started doing something, and then it thought for 30 seconds. Eventually, it's going to be thinking for 4 days, a week, and the things that it's going to create for you. It's going to create all your SOPs, your businesses. It's going to create your SDR agent, your sales agent, your closer, your success manager. It's going to create everything for you from just one single prompt. Don't be afraid of AI. Instead, use it to your ability. It's here. There's a ton of money being put into the industry, like I always say. So don't dismiss the power of AI. Even in its current form, it's going to drastically change. It's not even going to be recognizable how different it is from today. Nonetheless, start using it, adopt it, change your mindset around AI, and think about how can it be beneficial to your current life, to your current productivity, to your current routine. And as always, my friends, I will see you tomorrow.